there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I'm your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And today I'm going to answer a question from a viewer who's written to me on the subject of scarves. I'm wearing one now. And this comes in from a chap called Nicholas who says, I wear a woolen peacoat in the winter, but when I wear a scarf they always shed lint onto the peacoat that looks terrible and it's difficult to remove. Synthetic scarves are the worst, but many have the issue. 100% cotton scarves are not so bad, but aren't very warm. As I live in Japan, where it can get down to -0 Celsius in the winter, I'd love to get something warmer. So Nicholas there has highlighted a problem which is common to many people who wear scarves, and is that perennial issue of lint or fluff. And it's absolutely a problem that I have had over the years. So perhaps we can come to a conclusion how to get rid of that issue. First of all, I think we need to talk about the subject of scarves and why they are so important to a gentleman's wardrobe at this time of year. And I think we have to acknowledge the fact that winter is not a colourful and cheerful time of the year when it comes to the way that we dress. Now I'm wearing a woolen black peacoat myself today, very much as Nicholas describes he wears in the winter. And like many winter outer garments, my coat is bland. It's in a primary colour, it's in black, and most other winter coats tend to be of a singular colour. They tend to be navy or grey or black. And the reason is obvious. It's because you tend to own one overcoat or one peacoat, and as a consequence it has to fit in with all of the other colours of clothes that you're likely to wear with it. And that is the reason why most outer garments tend to come from colour groups which are quite unexciting. They don't tend to be very decorative in nature. They don't tend to have much detail on them. They don't tend to be patterned or textured to a degree. They tend to be created in a way which can be worn with many other things. So as a consequence, one of the imperative ways which you can dress up your bland outer garmentry is by wearing a scarf. A nice scarf can have a transformative effect on your overall ensemble of winter clothing, because a scarf can add colour, it can add texture, it can add pattern, and of course, let's never forget, it can add the practical application of additional warmth to your outfit. So the scarf brings a lot to the party. It's, I go to the extent of saying that in the winter months, I hardly ever would go out of the house wearing an outer coat without wearing a scarf. The only time I don't wear a scarf is where I would be wearing perhaps a polo neck or a turtleneck jumper underneath a coat, so there's no actual requirement to wear a scarf because I'm already all muffled up. But a scarf, such an important item to give you a style bump in these drab and dreary winter months. Now over the years I've been in exactly the same position as Nicholas, and I've been bugged with lint or fluff on the collar of one's garment when you're wearing a nice colourful or fluffy scarf. And it can be particularly annoying if the outer garment you're wearing is made of wool or cashmere or something which is quite textured, because this allows the lint to get a purchase on the garment and transfers those fibres across, and it can be time consuming picking them all off, because you tend to have to do it by hand or using a brush. It can take a lot of effort and it's unsightly. It doesn't do any good to your sense of personal appearance if you've got lots of lint and fluff and fibres all over your clothing. It's annoying. It's like having dog's hair or cat's hair on your clothes, but actually it's come from your own scarf. Now, the culprit here is your scarf, of course, but it's a particular type of scarf. It's a synthetic scarf, all right? Now, synthetic is, in essence, just another way of saying man-made, and it's another way of saying plastic, because most of the materials which go into the making of synthetic scarves, in some way or another, the material we're looking at is derived from a form of plastic, and those fibres readily transfer across because they're very fine. They're not constructed in the same way as a natural scarf would be. Now over the years I have to admit, I love scarves, all right? I'll openly admit that. And I cultivated quite a large collection of scarves when I was up and coming. And I would go as far as to say at its peak, I probably owned about 40 scarves. I had a scarf for every occasion, every outfit, every mood, every style that I wanted to portray. And I would buy them from many of these fast fashion places like Zara and so on, which actually are now anathema to my idea and my philosophy of style. You know, I would never buy things from those sorts of locations because they're not in my cycle of quality men's clothing. But I would buy from there because they were the key thing when you're young and up and coming, inexpensive. You know, a scarf would cost €10, £10, wherever you were. And I would buy one, you know, couple of scarves a year. And before you know it, the collection would build up. And I would spend half my time picking the fluff off the collars of my overcoat, my pea coat, my bomber jackets. There is a very easy answer to overcoming that issue. And it's something which I faced up to only as recently as 2 years ago, when I collected together all of my scarves, my full collection of scarves, and in one fell swoop, everything that wasn't of natural material, I donated to charity. Now, it was a painful thing to do because I loved many of those scarves. They'd been on my style journey with me. I was comfortable with them, but they were no good. They were man-made, they were synthetic, they were ruining the look of my clothing with all this extra fluff and fibre, so they had to go. Now these days, I only buy scarves which are made of actual natural materials, of wool, of merino, of cashmere, or blends thereof, because they work the best, and by and large, they discharge far less fluff, lint, and fibres onto your clothing, if any at all. The key thing here is something which could be applied across the whole theme of your style collection. Buy less, but buy better. Instead of spending money on 3 or 4 cheap synthetic scarves, buy one single good quality scarf, which is made of, you know, cashmere or wool, and is going to last longer. It's going to look better, it's going to perform better, and it's not going to fill your clothes with fluff. Now the scarf I'm wearing right now is a really good example of that buy less but buy better philosophy. Now this burnt orange scarf, which incidentally is a great colour because it goes with so many other outer garments, I purchased in 2022, and it's made of 100% lamb's wool and merino wool as in a blend. And it's lovely and warm and cozy. Never forget, one of the qualities of wool is that even when it's wet, it still keeps you warm, which is something which synthetic material simply cannot deliver. Now, I purchased this scarf when I was visiting a county show in a neighbouring county to where I live, and they had the old artisan stands, you know, where people were selling their wares. And there was a young lady selling woolen goods, which she made herself by hand. Quite a few scarves were for sale. I bought one, so did my wife. When I saw the price initially, £58 for a scarf, I balked. I have to admit, I thought, wow, you know, that is a lot of money. I could get a lot of, you know, bang for my buck for my wardrobe for £58. However, I'm so glad I took the plunge, because having spoken to the young lady, she told me that, you know, she made all of the scarves by hand, knitted them by hand, and they were created from natural materials which were a byproduct from another part of a clothing manufacturing process where she bought these various leftovers. So quite sustainable as well. I'm doing my bit for the environment by making sure things don't go to waste. And I'm buying less items, but buying better quality items. So instead of having, you know, a whole drawer packed with scarves, I have to admit I've probably got about 6 or 7 now, but I wear them all of the time. I'm getting value for money out of them, and they are very high quality. Now the scarf maker was called Marissa Therese, and I'll put a link to her website down below, her Etsy site. She doesn't have a website at the moment, I don't think, but you know, go and have a look. Have a look at the quality. I mean, I'm in no way affiliated to her or linked to her. She doesn't even know I'm saying this about one of her products, but it's just an example of how it is important to Seek out things which are of high quality and are going to last you for a long time and are going to give you a fantastic return on your investment. Now, all of those synthetic scarves that I bought, they're gone. All of the money which I invested in those over the years has been wasted, has been lost, because I'll never wear them again. And, you know, they weren't actually good when I had them. They were always discharging fluff and lint on my clothing. So I don't regret their passing. I'm grateful that my scarf collection now is all wool, all cashmere, all merino, and they definitely provide better performance than anything I've had before. So there we go. I hope I've answered your question, Nicholas, and I hope that you can also see a way forward to perhaps going entirely natural in your scarf collection. So if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, click that subscribe. If you'd like to contribute to the channel, leave me a comment or a question in the comment section below. And if you'd like to support us, you can either buy me a coffee or you could even join as a patron, because I've got a Patreon page now, and in which I provide additional content to my valued patrons, who you will see their names at the end of the video. So until the next time, keep your neck warm and stylish with natural scarves, and you'll have no trouble with fluff and lint. So take care, and I will see you again very soon.